I'm gonna try to make this a one-take video, but last night I went out drinking. I don't usually go out anymore. I'm really on my personal development journey and trying to, build my business and my socials, everything. So going out hasn't really been serving me recently. But yesterday I was out for a friend's birthday, had a couple of drinks, maybe a little too many drinks because I was bedridden all day. So I probably had about 8 drinks, I'm not gonna lie. But this isn't typical for me. This is the last time I remember doing that was maybe like 6 months ago. And so I was bedridden, canceled 2 of my calls. I had about 4 calls today. Canceled 2 of them because I literally just could not even function on a Zoom call. So yeah, I'm gonna go on a walk here. I'm not sure what the camera's gonna look like, camera quality and things, but I did have a few things I wanna talk about because today has been just super humbling with the whole literally sleeping all day in bed, like completely bedridden. I realized that in the last couple of months, things have changed in the best ways possible. And most of those things were because of my discipline and me keeping up with the things that I'm telling myself I'm going to do. My last deep talk was like a couple months ago, maybe like 2 months ago. And so much stuff has happened since then. I have completely started to scale my business in the right direction. I have more students than I ever could picture myself having. I want to say that a lot of that growth has been just from me being disciplined, but it's a lot more than that. It's about me buying in on the type of life I want to live and the fact that it's going to take more than just me posting a few videos on Instagram. It's going to be a lot about me planning my future and seeing exactly really what I want from life. And right now, 29 years old, it's about to be 2026. I don't think I'll ever be exactly where I want to be. That's the point of this whole journey, and this is why I've subscribed to personal development. And that's why I'm going on a walk right now at 10 p.m., just taking a 2-mile walk with this camera. But I haven't done one of these videos before because usually I'm in the studio with this camera. I'm trying to make this mostly one take, but I know I'm going to have to chop a few bits off. But something that my students have been dealing with, most of them all at the same time this week, has just been them not believing in themselves to post consistently, and maybe not trusting that them not trusting the fact that what they're posting is actually benefiting them, even if they're getting low views. So, of course, my whole thing is just teaching personal branding and discipline and mindset. But what I've noticed is that all my students are suffering with the same thing, and I think it has to do with something with like the new year coming up and everybody feeling like they're in a constant race with each other. And I felt that last year and the year before, but this year has been a little different. I know personally that I've been putting in massive action and massive effort towards the goals that I want to achieve. And I know that I'm going to be coming into 2026 with extreme momentum, more momentum than I've ever gone into a year with, which is so fun to say out loud and so exciting. But it's taken a lot of discipline and sacrifice. It's taken a lot of me investing in myself. This year, spent over $14,000 in education and mentorship for myself so that I can relay that information to others in the future. Because if you're teaching something and you don't have a mentor, that's insane. If you're trying to mentor someone on something and you don't even have your own mentor, that's where I draw the line. But either way, what I've been doing every morning is something called the 5-4-5 method, and it's something that I've learned through mentors. But what the 5-4-5 method is essentially 5 goals, 4 morning rituals, and 5 daily actions. So with the goals, I already have like a set up long-term goal for a few different aspects of my life. And what I do every morning is I write those goals shaped into an I will statement, and it's been a game changer. So I'll be like, I will remove any filler words and speak with more authority when I talk, or I will be more disciplined with my finances and not spend frivolously on dumb things, So that'll be every single day. My morning ritual has been, no matter what time I wake up, but if I wake up early, it's best. I love to wake up at 5 a.m. and get out of the house and start going on this exact walk I'm on right now, except I'm doing it at night right now because my day was ruined from drinking. If I get out of breath, it's because I'm walking pretty fast. Like ideally, I do want to wake up at 5 a.m. and be up and about, but not every single day can be like that because just life happens, just like last night where I went out and had fun with friends. It was fun, but I also kind of regretted drinking that much. I probably could have had the same amount of fun if I would have just not drank at all. And that's what I'm realizing with myself. I've always kind of indulged a little too much, but it's always kind of been in moderation. But now that it's so limited, when I do indulge, it just ends up being like too much because I'm not used to it. But either way, with that morning ritual, that's helped me really scale everything in my life: fitness, health, relationships, everything. That 4 morning rituals usually entails just getting hydrated really fast, having water right when I wake up. Then I go and do my cardio. I usually do a 2-mile walk / run depending on how I'm feeling that day. And I have the same exact one. I walk down this road for right now because I'm living right here, but no matter where I live, it's going to be something like this, about 2 miles. So it's 5,000 steps right off the rip before 6 a.m. if I'm waking up at my ideal time. Then I go and read. Usually I've been getting into the Bible recently, so I've been writing in, an entrepreneurial quote from the Bible or something that's going to inspire me throughout the day. And then I'll crack another book too or something, whatever I'm into at the moment. But the last one is 50 push-ups. 50 push-ups gives me a nice pump and keeps the blood flowing, so that's what I've kind of kept myself to. 100 just seemed like, I was doing 100 for a while, and 100 just seemed like a little too much. I was like kind of gassed out by the end of it. But yeah, that's what's really, really dialed me in. The 5 actions are essentially just a to-do list. Some days I won't get to all of them, but I really, really try my best to cross out every single one of those things in my list. And over time, it'll just scale and grow. I don't know how this video's coming out right now. I have my mic on me. It's nice, a nice little peaceful walk. I get most of my best ideas when I'm walking, and I love doing like walking talking heads on Instagram. So I was like, why not just do a YouTube walk? Because we're kind of in this pivotal holidays vibe. There's always lights out. Jules is out at a friend's house tonight, so I'm just home alone. I went to Target to pick up some, holiday gifts and things, and it's open till midnight tonight. It just feels like that nostalgic holiday vibe right now, and it feels kind of like the epitome of what a winter arc feels like, and that's what I'm really liking. So decided to just go on a little walk, get some steps in today because I literally was rotting all day. But something I've been really thinking about and considering is the fact that I don't have to be doing any of this at all. Like, why am I doing all of this, posting daily, keeping up with socials, trying to inspire people, trying to push for more every single day? Because the people around me I've grown up with, not to hate on anybody, but I'm just saying, like, nobody that I ever really came across was that driven, or maybe I just didn't see it when I was young because I wasn't driven myself. But something I noticed was I never really grew up around people who wanted it bad and wanted change so bad for their life that they were willing to sacrifice whatever they were able to do. And I think that might be why I might possess this trait, is because I maybe craved it from others and I was never really around it. And I kind of just settled for mediocrity myself and just played video games and ate shitty foods and kind of just fell below the level. Back when I was in school, I was really never great at school. It's not that I didn't know how to learn, it's just I really was so distracted by things. I didn't see a purpose in school. I don't know, I think it was a mixture of the school systems I was in and just a little bit of me just being lazy. But I just wouldn't do the homework. I would barely even be able to copy people by the end of high school. I would be at Panera with a bunch of friends and they would have their notebooks like, yo, here is the homework, just copy it, please. And I wouldn't even have the attention span to sit there and copy their notebook they spent time to do. That's how bad it was at a certain point. And I think it just took me going to that like deep, dark feeling of feeling dumb and feeling not capable. That feeling of not being capable has translated into me being hyper aware about me wanting to exceed my expectations and grow as a person, because I was just so in the dumps in life. I didn't have any aspirations. I had no idea what I didn't even apply to a college when I was in high school. Everybody in my high school was applying to like 7 or 8 different colleges. I literally knew I was going straight to community college because I didn't want to take the SAT or the ACT and like actually study for these things. Like I really, really struggled with like self-belief, and that's something that I think my entire brand on social media has kind of developed into. It's just been me trying to find self-belief in myself, and through painting, through marketing, through growing a business, it's taught me that I do have more to give, and I just had to teach myself that through like a social platform. And that's I can't thank it enough. I think growing a personal brand, I can't express how grateful I am to have found personal branding and using that as a means for self-development, because I feel like it is the epitome of self-development. You are in front of people you know, people that are your family. That's who you're presenting to right up front. So if you're not able to be comfortable enough to share your thoughts, opinions, and biases with your family and friends, then you'll never be able to grow a personal brand, because they're eventually going to find your account and want to be involved in your life. But that's why it's the biggest self-development hack, is just starting the personal brand. It's putting yourself out there and showing yourself to others and showing what you're into, what you're passionate about. Because I'm so passionate in seeing other people grow their personal brands and actually dive deeper into what they're passionate about, because a lot of people will just put it on the back burner. They'll work a job, they won't develop themselves in the way that feels most authentic to them. And that's what I struggled with throughout college. It took me such a long time to figure out that really wasn't the path I wanted, and I was just super dead set and hyper fixated on it because it was the first thing I ever grasped onto mentally, just animation and, Disney and Pixar or those type of movies. I just felt like I grasped onto that because I needed to feel safe with a job that had to do with art. When I was first choosing what I wanted to do in college, my Nana, she told me I should do something with art. And I was like, why should I do something with art? Like, it's like, you're definitely gifted. You're different than every other person in our family in some way. And I think you should definitely pursue the thing that you're best at. You've always been great at art. You should definitely pursue that as a career. And I took her word for it because she's one of the smartest ladies I ever met. And now that she's long passed, I took her word for it and just like kept working at it. And it was leading me nowhere, because what I realized was animation, the way I chose animation as a career path was in a way of a scarcity mindset. I wanted there to be health insurance. I wanted there to be a salary attached to my art. And I didn't realize that I could just sell my own art and actually sell myself on others in a way that would sell what I was doing. I didn't realize I could make my own freelance animation company if I wanted to. All those things came way later, and I think the whole journey of me going to college for that long really taught me that I'm able to stick it out even when things are bad. And no matter how long the time horizon is, I'm never gonna quit, so I'll never fail. That's something I've really, really lived by. With social media, I was posting for about 8 years as well. This almost the same amount of time I was in college for. I was posting on my art Instagram, hoping for some sort of budge in follower count or something. Nothing ever happened. But something I always told myself is that as long as I just don't quit, there's no way I can fail. It's pretty crazy if you think about it that way. If you stretch out the time horizon just far enough, all the way huge, as long as you don't quit, you'll never fail. But some people try to give themselves like 3 months for it to work. And 3 months just isn't enough sometimes, especially when you're in a learning phase. A learning phase, it could take you 6 to 8 months of trial and error before something really happens. For my girlfriend, she has been posting on her personal brand. It used to be an esthetician account. And this week, she's grown over 1,000 followers for the first time ever this fast. She's got about 2,000 followers now. She had a video go viral, 2 million views. She had another video go viral with about 500K views. And every single post after that was, 5 to 10K views. It's been great for an account with 2,000 followers. She was not posting for about 6 to 8 weeks right before this happened because she felt exhausted. She felt like she didn't have any ideas for content. But then she gained back that steam. She saw what I was doing each and every day, and she just started posting her thoughts and opinions and just posting her personality at its purest and rawest form, kind of like I'm doing right now on YouTube. It was actually really hard for her because she was posting daily for about a few months without any sign of traction. And maybe there was a couple outlier videos, but they didn't lead to follows. They didn't lead to friends that were joining her DMs. This week, she actually got a $200 brand deal with under 2,000 followers. That's unheard of. When I had 15K followers on Instagram, that was when I first got my first brand deal, and I told them my rate was $200. She has 2,000 followers, and she is getting sent a product to make a video for, one singular video for $200. And that's the power of a personal brand, because companies are always gonna wanna have you promote their products. Or if you have your own business, you're always gonna wanna be able to promote your own thing. And the only way to do that effectively is to have trust and authority in your own niche. So it's crazy that she's able to conjure that up after being dormant for about a month and a half, 2 months, and just out of nowhere pop like that. It's because she's dead set on sharing her truest form, her truest personality online, and she's not afraid anymore. Before, she was a little bit apprehensive about certain friends seeing it. She's not afraid anymore. She's posting exactly how she feels, and no matter who cares, and is just being the most uncensored version of herself, which I'm super proud of her for. Something I've really grown to realize when it comes to personal branding and presenting yourself online is that at first you might feel super vulnerable and super authentic, and you feel like you're sharing every single bit of your life. But in reality, you might just be scratching the surface of what you actually have to share, your opinions, your thoughts on different topics. I thought I was being super vulnerable up front when I was posting for about 8 years, just because I was posting my art and I was posting certain things about my schooling and all these other things. I felt like I was showing people me, but when I look back on those times, I was barely showing anything. I wasn't even scratching the surface of who I was. And it's no wonder no one wanted to follow, because there was no relatability. It was just me being selfish and trying to shove down their throat. I was trying to shove my art down other people's throats. And no wonder they didn't care about it, because I wasn't trying to give them anything back. I wasn't trying to become a friend of anyone's. I wasn't really sharing anything of value with them. I was basically just trying to promote myself through social media, and that's not the best way to go about it. This park behind me is a dog park, and usually I go up and, like, as a little thing for myself, I just touch the fence, but there's like a million sprinklers going on over there, so I have to not do that, or else I'd get soaked with like reclaimed water, and I don't want to do that tonight. But yeah, that's one of my like weird hyperfixations, is just touching that fence so that I know that I'm at my halfway point. And I was gonna do it on camera, because back in late September when I got back from Europe, I decided I was gonna come back like balls blazing. I was gonna wake up at 5 a.m. every single day and just completely change the person that I was when I first went to Europe. So I came back, I started doing, 5 a.m. wake ups, sharing it on my story, and I really, really loved doing that. But it was just, today it was one of those days where I felt like I ruined all of my progress. And sure, I've missed a few 5 a.m. wake ups, not because I was hungover or anything, but for some reason, this was the first day I had no control over myself. I was completely nauseous all day and just in and out of the bathroom, just horrible. I think it's pretty important to not be too hard on yourself, and know that all the achievements that you're going for and all the goals and discipline you're adding each and every day is actually adding up. And just because you have one hungover day, obviously you don't want a ton of them, it's not going to ruin your entire progress, and you don't have to be depressed over it. That was me all day, just in a slump. Having to cancel those calls was so embarrassing, and usually I'm right there minutes before my call, waiting for them to come, like my students to come. But I'm sitting there defeated, trying to be a mentor, and just sitting there like, dude, I feel like I'm going to throw up right here on the Zoom call. I am so sorry, we need to reschedule this call. That was me, and that was the reality. And I'm not ashamed to say it, but I'm definitely embarrassed. So I think it's important to be a little easier on yourself, but also just remember that, hey, maybe alcohol, maybe drinking was gotten rid of for a reason in your life. Maybe these vices like nofap or texting or like swiping on Hinge or whatever vices that keep you in a chokehold are there to be learning lessons and a way for you to get rid of them as you see fit, or add them on to realize that you are headed in the right direction. Like sometimes, every now and then you'll go to the casino and gamble, and you'll be like, damn, no wonder I don't gamble. It's because I value my money and I value my time. So I think it's really important to look at your vices from a 30,000 feet up in the air, bird's eye view, and realize that, hey, there's only a set amount of vices. For me, one of my biggest vices is just caffeine. Like I kind of overdo it sometimes just because it like keeps me locked in and keeps me going. But sometimes I should probably wean off of it a bit. Luckily, I don't struggle with too many vices. I think definitely porn has been one of my bigger ones. Growing up, it's always been kind of an annoyance. It's always been in the back of my head, and something I'm really, really actively trying to delete. It's not something that just comes super easy. I think with enough applied pressure, you can delete any vice that you put your mind to. And luckily, I haven't been strapped with too many vices. And I see so many friends, so many family members that deal with a lot of things, maybe being alcoholics or, all types of vices like overspending or whatever it is to make them feel better. I've always kind of seen these vices as demons or something you should avoid, but I think leaning in and accepting the fact that these are vices that you have is super important. Maybe it's overeating or like overconsumption, you're buying too much stuff. Lean into the fact that that's a problem for you, because acceptance is the first layer to this removal. Acceptance is the first layer to you being like, okay, hey, I do have a problem with this. Let me find a way, an actionable plan. Let's make a mission statement for how we're going to remove this from our life. And I think that's why my mentor always says, like, the depth of your struggle will determine the height of your success. The depth of your struggle will determine the height of your success, because if you're not able to understand what it's like to fight temptations, or what it's like to not want to do something and still do it anyways, then you're never going to feel obligated to make it happen for yourself. You're never going to feel what it's like. You're never going to feel what it feels like to not achieve what you're looking for. So what I've been really trying to do is, anytime I feel any of these temptations to do something that I know I struggle with, I'm not saying I shouldn't have like a coffee or whatever, but I'm saying that anytime I feel the urge or temptation to not go on this walk or not pick up the camera or whatever it is, that I need to lean further into it and say, okay, I'm feeling this for a reason, and I get stronger every time I disobey the temptation. Every time I tell myself, I don't feel like going to the gym today, and I do, I always feel better. Anytime I wake up really early, even if I have not very much sleep, I always feel very clear and very empowered. You keep growing in strength every time you're able to resist some of these temptations. And I think that's what's super fun. And I've realized that I can start to use it as a game and gamify the rewiring of my brain. And I don't know, I'm just obsessed with the intricacies of the psychology behind that. So towards the end of January, I had my first in-person event. It's on January 17th. It's at this co-working space that has 2 large rooms. I actually painted live there last March for an event that just had some DJs and live entertainment. But something that I've decided to do is host an event for creators and young entrepreneurs in Tampa, because I know a ton of influential people that can come up and speak, and I want to be able to make an impact in my community as well as being an impact online. So the best way for me to do that is to start throwing these events. And my buddy Reese, the one that invited me to live paint last year, we've been getting together more and more, and we're trying to cultivate this event we're completely doing. We have the tickets up live and everything. I'm so excited, and it's kind of nerve-wracking because I'm reaching out to all these brands, and we're selling general admission and VIP tickets. All the VIPs will get goodie bags, and we'll have the speaking room where after everyone's done, maybe the final Q&A panel's over, there's going to be like a breakout one-on-one room for all the VIPs to sit and chat for 45 minutes before they go back into the main room. The main room will consist of live entertainment, vendors, there's a bar in there, but most importantly, there's going to be some live entertainment with Reese. He's a drummer, he's a DJ, he's got some friends that are come by and throw an after party as well. So it's going to be a fun event. It's going to be at 6 p.m. on January 17th, and it's just exciting to say, and I'm excited to be able to look back on this video in general to see my excitement for that. And it's something I want to revisit every quarter and grow over time, because yes, growing stuff online is amazing, but growing something in person and seeing people face to face and see the impact that you can have on somebody is incredible. So I'm inviting a bunch of speakers. I don't have them fully locked in yet, but there's a bunch of people with big personal brands. They're going to be there available to speak, and I'm excited to do it. I'm going to be hosting it, kind of just calling people up on stage and things, but I'll have it all up here on YouTube when it's filmed and done with. But I'm super excited, and that's just something that's kind of a life update, if you will. So I'm approaching the end of this walk, and this video is honestly really good for my mind in general, because a lot of these deep talks, these emotionally connected, emotionally charged videos are mostly me just talking to myself, because obviously you're not exactly right there behind the camera to speak to, but I don't know, they really help me. It's almost like a therapist, you know? You can speak out loud to yourself, but since I know I'm gonna go back and have to edit this video, I know that I need to really think more clear about my situation and view it from a different person's perspective. Like, what are people gonna think about this? Or what am I gonna think about this in a few months? So I think it's a really cool active reflection, even if you're not necessarily trying to make content for yourself. Just sitting on camera and talking to yourself about the issues that you're going through can be really beneficial. These last few months have been insane. I've been scaling my coaching business really fast, and I'm excited to see what the future holds. But I kind of feel a little bit of like an imposter sometimes, because I'm like, dang, like, am I like really able to help these people? And it's like, of course you are. You've been through these problems. You're able to solve these problems for other people and see their situation from an outside perspective and give them valuable information. And it's something I have to keep reminding myself, because it's still new to me. It's still new to have a personal brand with over 60,000 people on Instagram. You know, it's not every day that you go from 0 to 60,000 followers, and you have to like piece it all together. You know, even though it's been about a year and a half, 2 years, I'm still tripping up over my words and being like, dang, is that actually who I am? Like, what is going on right now? Yeah, it's just been a really big culture shock for myself, and I'm super excited to see where it all lands. So it is super exciting, and I'm really proud of myself for that. But if you do see yourself wanting one-on-one mentorship, I'm one of the only coaches that still does one-on-one calls with their students, not just group calls. Just go ahead and shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'll personally respond to you, and we'll get to see how I can help. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.